Hey, random stranger, welcome to the very first reaction of 2022, where we'll be watching episodes 9 and 10 of Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. I hope you're feeling good about the new year. I'm definitely looking forward to watching a lot more anime with you all. So let's get straight to the recap. The last two episodes of Eizouken dealt with the underlying arc of Mizusaki and her conflicts with her parents, who to this point really have been almost like a mysterious, slightly ominous presence in the background, because all we really knew about them was that they are hardly ever around and they're the kind of parents to send some men in black after Mizusaki to stop her from doing the thing that she loves the most. And it did turn out to be more complicated than that, but we'll talk about that more later. The beginning of episode 8 was impressive in how much detail and subtext was conveyed in just those first few minutes. We got a glimpse of the giant Mizusaki estate. When her mom comes in to say goodnight, she's actually going out to work. So we know her parents are out at all hours and all the time, probably for months at a time, given what shooting schedules are like for actors. They're also very hands-off with Mizusaki, which is confirmed later at the bathhouse when Mizusaki finds it weird that Asakusa has to call the parents to let them know where they are. Clearly, Mizusaki's parents aren't bothered if Mizusaki doesn't do the same and check in on them all the time. And of course, back to the beginning with Mizusaki hiding under her bed covers, working on animating the giant mech. It's obvious she's still hiding her determination to pursue animation from her parents. Which leads us into the sweetest scene ever. When animating the mech, Mizusaki thinks back to the person who played a big role in encouraging her to develop her eye for detail and human movement, and that was her grandma, her Obaachan. Even though Obaachan may not have completely understood all of the technicalities of why Mizusaki was so obsessed with watching her flick the tea out the window, the fact that she was completely cool with baby Mizusaki's failed attempts to do so and getting the floor all dirty, and would do the flick over and over and over again when Mizusaki asked her to, that I think was already such a huge vote of support from Obaachan. It's like, oh, my grandkid's a bit weird, but I'm so happy to indulge her and support her in whatever she chooses to do, which I thought was so wholesome. And also, by the way, do you know who else was willing to flick water over and over again at Mizusaki's request? Kanamori. At the bathhouse, when Mizusaki asks her to keep dousing Asakusa over and over again with water just so that she can watch the movement, I loved that it was Kanamori, of all people, who were able to draw that parallel with Obaachan. The other reason why that flashback had such emotional weight to it is that we see Mizusaki use her knowledge of how humans move to help Obaachan stand and to walk easier. And Ragashingo pointed that out in the comments. So they wrote, "It's also neat how Mizusaki uses her eye for animation to help people. She helped her grandma become mobile again by taking the movements she saw in herself and the others at the fashion school and applying them to helping an old person stand and walk." The way it mixes passion for animation and love for her grandmother really got to me. And then we end back on the tea toss, the symmetry and full circleness of it all. How her grandmother's one little action of flinging the last of her tea inspired Mizusaki to a life of paying close attention to the way things moved. I teared up at the end of the episode. I kind of want to see an alternate take on Mizusaki, or a future path for her that sees her become a physical therapist helping kids learn to walk again by using her enthusiasm and drawing skills to inspire them to trying to stand up again or to try taking another step. I would love to see that also. I found it so satisfying that her passion in this one area was able to help in another seemingly unrelated area. It just goes to show you that inspiration can come from anywhere, and well, human history is littered with examples of some breakthrough that happened because of an observation in another totally disconnected, but not really disconnected field. It just took someone brilliant like Mizusaki to notice it. I think Mizusaki also tested out Obaachan's wheelchair to see how her understanding of movement might help Obaachan to pull herself along easier too. I did get the feeling, or I thought that the episode was going to head in a sadder, more sober direction. Something about how Obaachan's deteriorating health or even death might have impacted Mizusaki, but it is left unclear actually as to whether Obaachan is still alive in the present day. My gut feeling is that she did pass away at some point, but also I do love how understated that entire flashback was, and you're allowed to just draw your own conclusions as to what happened afterwards, because the main focus really is on the great supportive relationship that Mizusaki had with her grandma. Also, Obaachan is like the coolest looking grandma ever. I mean, just look at her. So a useful clarification from Reihisa Yoshimoto, whose name I hope I got right because I had to put it through a kanji translator. So where we see Mizusaki learning how to sit and stand is actually acting school, which makes a lot of sense. And I love that that's where Mizusaki discovered her love for noticing and then drawing human movement. Mizusaki's capacity for memory is actually pretty amazing, because there was a girl in that acting class who walked swaying from side to side, not quite straight, and we see that resurface later in the giant mech animation. There's also a nod in the flashback to Mizusaki's statement that she's actually all about making animation, not anime, which we see when she's watching a TV drama and keeps rewinding over and over that part where a man stands up. She's not actually interested in the plot at all, but the movement of the man on TV standing up. I mean, if I was watching a show with someone who kept doing that, I'd probably kick them out of the room. But for Mizusaki, it's so clear that she is way more interested in human movement than any TV, anime, live action plot. Next, we saw the club continuing to work on their mech animation, now with Doumeki officially part of Eizouken, which I'm very, very happy about. It was so cute seeing how super protective she was of her recordings, and the fact that she has different sounds for eating bread crusts versus eating croissants. And I learned something new too about sound mixing, basically just how complicated it is to try and match it to the animation. Doumeki was explaining things like how she needs to see the pictures before really understanding what sounds to layer over. There's timing issues. You have to balance out the sounds with the dialogue and think about the size of the locations and the acoustics and how they impact sound as well. There was also the small issue of having to get the Robot Club to do the dubbing, and particularly Ono and his adorable but maybe overboard enthusiasm, which created a slight headache for Asakusa and Doumeki, who have to figure out how to tamp down that exuberance. Also a side note from Youngblood, which I found super interesting. So a fun thing about dialogue, most anime studios record voice actors after the animation is made, like they are dubbing the characters, but most Western studios record voice actors before the animation is done. So they're more like interpreting the character. I guess they've solved the chicken and the egg problem differently. I did not know about this difference. And I did wonder which way allows the voice actors more creative freedom. I thought with recording the lines before the animation is done, that would mean actors have more of a blank slate to do whatever they want, but I'm not so sure anymore, because maybe seeing the animation in front of you triggers their creativity more and just lets them fill out the character they see. So yeah, I don't know. There are also other headaches for the girls who, again, have to meet with the art club, and there are things like they've drawn the sun in the wrong position, or forgotten to place an opening here, or drawn over where the cell animation is meant to go. It was actually really interesting watching how differently each of the girls reacted to these hiccups. Asakusa is sweating big bullets. Mizusaki is just laughing, and Kanamori is scarily silent. I'm surprised that she didn't immediately black bag that slacker dude who, after they'd pointed out all of these problems, had said, I mean, is it really a problem? I think Kanamori is just super pragmatic. Like, later she dresses down Asakusa for taking back too much of the artwork to fix, because she recognizes that unless they find a way to squeeze another 120 hours into one day, they're gonna have to make do with the people that they're working with. The bathhouse scene was excellent. I loved watching Mizusaki get so excited over the lockers and the fact that there are rules in the public bathhouse. This scene also threw up my favorite line of the episode, which was Kanamori casually telling the girls, oh, I tried raising pigs for meat once. And Asakusa is like, who does that? And in my head, I'm like, Kanamori does that. On a more serious note though, Mizusaki reveals that her becoming an actress is actually her dad's idea for the sake of making her mom's dream come true. So it turns out that the pressure's not really coming from mom, it's more dad, but the reason is because of her mom. And in the next episode, when Mizusaki's parents are watching the film, we also find out her mom had no idea that good old dad had sent some men in black after their daughter to stop her from joining the animation club, which is pretty hardcore gangsterish in my opinion. But one of the things that was so fascinating with Mizusaki's parents is how chill they are about anything. As you know, as famous live action actors, they've probably seen it all. Their reaction to the reason why their production was cancelled because of an attempted murder of a producer by the director and a screenwriter. Their reaction was to just laugh and shrug it off and just be like, oh, well, I guess we're going to our daughter's culture festival now. The bathhouse. So one more thing about the bathhouse scene. I love that we see a repeat of the movement for standing up when Mizusaki picks up Asakusa, who's just passed out. It was a nice recurring reference to how deeply Mizusaki's passion for detail goes. The end of episode 7 showed us just how crazy passionate Mizusaki is about animation. It starts with her wanting to animate that chainsaw, the teeth of it grinding against the ground so that it kicks up all this gravel and stones. And after some discussion, the girls decide that adding sound effects is the best way to get that effect across. And Mizusaki is grateful for that because it does mean that she doesn't have to animate all this extra stuff and she can move on to other things. But she also kind of hates it because she wants people to visually see all of the technical detail that goes into making something look the way that an animator intends it for it to look. And Kanamori, practical as ever, tells her that most people wouldn't know how to appreciate that anyway, but to Mizusaki, it doesn't matter. Like, we get that insight into her motivation for why she gets so granular and absorbed into her work, and it's actually really inspiring because to her, like, she's someone who would work so hard just for the offhand chance that one person somewhere in the world would see and appreciate that detail, even for something as obscure as the vibrations on chainsaw. And so that is art in its most purest form. And hearing Mizusaki say that to produce animation like that is for her a matter of life and death, that's being an artist in its most full-blooded, die by your work kind of way. On the day of the festival in episode 8, everyone played their roles so well. Kanamori is in her element. She exploited every possible advantage to ensure that they get plenty of people in and also to get lots of DVD pre-orders, including blackmailing the ecological club and using Mizusaki's pool as a famous model. She had a smooth argument to answer Mizusaki's concern that it would turn all of the attention more on her rather than the anime. But Kanamori, said, we're using you and the air conditioning to get people to come and pay attention to the anime, not the other way around, which I thought was brilliant. The first thing is like to get bums and seats, and then they can let the anime do its work. Kanamori was also the mastermind behind having the Robot Club protect Mizusaki from the student council and make her way to the auditorium. But nothing can be taken away from the Robot Club either. It felt like they would have laid down their lives to make this film screening a success. They helped the girls attract an audience with their rockets and parachuting Mizusaki merch down on the crowd. They rallied an army of cardboard robots to mislead security. And then, of course, we had Ono pulling all these crazy stunts while advertising the film, ziplining over the school, and that shot of his snot-filled, sweaty face inside the robot costume is like a life goal. And then we get to the actual screening, and I love that short moment before it starts when Asakusa walks in and she sees Misaki having a contemplative moment, I guess, preparing to show her parents what she's capable of, but still feeling a little bit apprehensive about it. And Asakusa gets it and is fully behind her. And it was so cute how worried Asakusa was throughout the episode that Mizusaki might not be able to continue making animation anymore if her parents found out. At this stage, they are beyond friends. They're comrades, as Asakusa puts it later, which implies a much deeper relationship, one that is built on a shared passion and this understanding that for both of them, this is what they want to do for the rest of their lives. It's one thing to have friends, but it's another thing to have friends who get what keeps you going every single day. And that sync between Mizusaki and Asakusa was also really clear when Mizusaki gets up on the stage to introduce the film, but ends up just saying, I'm excited for this. And then Asakusa starts the film, which wasn't what they'd actually planned beforehand, but it felt right to them to just jump straight into it. The film itself was used in a really genius way to resolve the conflict between Mizusaki and her parents. There were all those telltale signs that Mizusaki had a hand in animating it. The way the chopsticks were held, obviously, which her mum saw and smiled at. Obaachan's flick of the tea, the way the robot walked mimicked how Mizusaki had taught her grandma how to walk. And also you had the rocket launching the robot into the air. All of that showed her parents that Mizusaki has become a brilliant actor. It's just that instead of live action, she expresses her acting chops and love of studying and imitating movement through art and animation. And every single deliberate, thought through decision that shows up on the screen. I love also that having her parents see that tied in with Mizusaki's impassioned speech about animating for those very few people who know what to look for. And her parents, with their knowledge of acting and the choices that have to be made, they knew what to look for and they knew to appreciate their daughter's gift for detail. On a more parent-kid relationship level, I appreciated that the show didn't go in the direction of making the relationship between Mizusaki and her parents really acrimonious. They could have squeezed in all of this drama and angst out of it, and I liked that they didn't. Her parents realized that she'd grown up into this fine actor and brilliant artist really without their help. It was a simple acknowledgement, but it wasn't any less profound of a realization or a resolution than if we had had to go through a lot of drama before we got to that point. Alright guys, so it's time to get to episode 9 of Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, and I'm just looking forward to another hour of pure chaos and just fun. So if you guys are ready to go, let's do this in 3, 2, 1, play. I love that hardcore electric guitar that plays whenever she's talking. It's always those two that are facing off. I love it. Boiled tofu. Of course. They're like, we have 2,000 hours in a day. They're in the red, aren't they? Man, once you count in those labor hours, you're done. They could sell stuff like outside of school. Mm. It's so impressive how Kanamori has all those profit and loss statements right on hand. Ah. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Also for her self-respect. Oh, I love how intense Kanamori is. I wish I had someone in that in my life to kick my ass like that. I mean, I do my mom sometimes, but not like that. I will never get sick of this sing-songy rap style. I could totally see Kanamori rapping this. Oh, so just filled it in. You know, I just remembered that the start of the season, it was Asakusa moving to the city, and now she knows so much about it. It's just all of her explorations and finding inspiration for her animation. That's a beautiful city, though. Oh man. Imagine just having that kind of mind where no matter where you go, even if it's the most boring town ever, you can just immediately jump into that sort of like a submarine underground. Eh? Hmm. Cup is this some kind of mythological fish? Oh, they're filling it in. Hmm. Whoa. That's the abyss. Allow down noodles. Oh man, I wish we had one of these underground shopping districts here. Oh, a fan. There's jellyfish in the back. He gets it. That's exactly what Mizusaki wanted. Why is Asakusa looking like that? Oh, she feels like they don't deserve that kind of praise yet? That's interesting. Oh. Okay, Kanamori. Oh, yeah, I really want to try that. The plot of every action anime. Oh, are they gonna help the dude to help keep his place open? It's all business, you. Further exploitation of Mizusaki for her righteous cause. Oh, she's got the branding, marketing all down. Just manipulating those little brains to get at their pockets. I don't know. She's just a master of everything. Whatever helps her get to her goal. Oh wow, is this from Kanamori's perspective? Oh, Kanamori backstory. Oh, those old school barrels, man. Oh, I mean, she's all sketchy, but she's already so cute. She read in a newspaper somewhere that pensions weren't enough. She's like 4 years old there. Oh, that's where she started saving, probably in a little piggy bank. Is that her grandma? Oh, God, this kid. Where did she even get this from? Oh, her face is all blue. Wait, so that's her uncle and auntie, right? She said it was her uncle. Mm. Look at that little spark in her eyes when she's like, here is where I start my entrepreneurship. Just born to take over the world. That's so insane. Uh, mm. I feel like we're witnessing Kanamori's childhood trauma. It's just the way that the voices are fading out, and she looks devastated. Oh, yeah. You need to bring those people in. Whoa, man. Oh, the whole town. Actually, that was surprisingly touching. Just seeing the core of what drives Kanamori and her ambition. Well, they're really expanding the size of the settings now. That's massive. They're gonna need a lot of budget for that. Oh my gosh, they're not just gonna save that one guy's shop, they're gonna save the entire like town. Oh, almost half a year. Okay, but that's still very tight. Oh, look at her. Trying to make it work with the art club. Hey, those IT guys. That bloody student council. Yep, that was why the smile. Man, this is so great. Like using their skills and talents to help the local community. That's awesome. Whoa, what? Oh, that's so trippy. I couldn't even tell which way was the ground. This is so crazy. Last time it was like a giant crabdle, and now we've just gone full blown alien invasion. You're cancelled. It's very real. Yeah, the plebs make it for the plebs, so just add some damn lasers. Oh, that's so cool with like the frequency wave. Oh man, don't you feel sorry for like creative types? It's so hard to communicate what's actually in your head and it's perfect, but when it comes out, it's just different. But they get it because they sort of all have the same kind of minds. It's kind of amazing. A performance. Oh, the turtle. A directed energy weapon. It's so important to her. Oh, the wavy lines. Yeah, okay. Okay, I have to think about why it hit her so hard when Kanamori said that everything that they're doing and have done so far has actually been a performance. I guess its first stab at it would be a performance means there's an audience, and Mrs. Asakusa was like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually trying to project what I see so clearly in my head out to people that aren't in my head. I have to actually create meticulously absolutely everything, the setting, the animation, to make sure that they see what I see. And if they can do that, then that's sort of a miracle because that's the hardest thing to communicate something that's so fantastical and imaginary. I know. I'd love to hear thoughts about that because that was such a profound moment of reflection for us because it just came out of nowhere. All right. All right, episode 10. If we're good to go, let's do this in 3, 2, 1, play. So badass. Oh, just being inspired by the music. It's so funny that Kanamori is interested in her career now as an offshoot, that she needs her to be the face of this club and draw people in for their animes. She's just like become Mizusaki's handler. Too real. I mean, or the greatest selling point would be this is an anime that Mizusaki did until her hands fell off. Okay, so she's gonna be a judge of voice acting competition. What? The way she just dropped the notebook. Oh, look at how they're standing. Here we go. Here's the standoff. I wonder if they enjoy this sparring that they always have going on with each other. Oh no. Why is the student council being so difficult? It's like they don't want them to succeed. I mean, at the start they came to an agreement, right? But now it just seems like because they've become so successful, the council is a little bit hesitant to give them any more free reign. I'm looking forward to seeing this voice acting competition though. I love how calming this scene is, and then we head into the chaos. Just all these objects and things. Never really thought about why they sing Easy Breezy. I have to look at the lyrics of the song. If anyone was Easy Breezy, it'd be Mizusaki, I guess. Oh, the adults are in. The salt. They are no match for Kanamori. She's so bored. Why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos? Uh, Wait, was that a barb? Like an insult? Why is she staring like that at the ceiling? Just like Kanamori. Oh, what's that guy just playing on his Game Boy? Isn't it business revitalization? Mutual benefits, guys. It's too much hand holding. I think she's impressed with Kanamori. Oh, I love that pullback shot. They're still gonna take the money from it. I mean, Kanamori is not gonna allow that not to happen. And Asakusa and Mizusaki are just happily doing their animation because that's all they really care about. What a pro. Oh man, they're working themselves to the bone. Just drawing eyes on themselves in class. Just get some shut eye. Oh man. Poor Mizusaki. Oh, that was beautiful shade of blue. What was that logo? Some mutation of the Apple logo. That's a lot of different settings in that one town. Is she having some kind of creative block? She's usually good with all those details, right? Oh, Doumeki. Oh, did she just like? There's a connecting like tunnel thing that connects them to Doumeki. That was cool. Mm. Today, tomorrow. It doesn't matter when you're creative. Just time just goes all funny, and all the days flow onto each other. Kanamori on a bike. I didn't know we needed to see that. Holy crap. Busted. Oh, I don't know why, but that kind of reminded me of the tunnel in Spirited Away, like on the magical one that they go through. Are they listening to the train tracks? Like the rumble of the train? Don't know what that was. Oh, this music, man. That's so cool. This the clock tower? No. Oh, it is. Nice. It's so run down and deserted. Here we go. What are they wearing? That's so cool. Samurai security guard. Yeah, where are the aliens? What is she looking for, Doumeki? Is that the chime of the clock tower? It's so cool how they came up so far just to get that. This girl. She, oh, that's a beautiful shot. I don't know how Asakusa survives with so many ideas just bubbling around in her head. But really, she controls the president. Yeah, she's definitely on their side. She wants real world tests. Oh, I love she's joining them for this. The sound waves. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yep, it's like art, but with sound. Auditory art. That's not important. An ox-drawn wish machine. Oh, I do love that she's incorporating more spiritual symbolisms and meanings behind the objects. That's cool. That was a sound that they recorded before. I love Doumeki. I love that she's like doing the timings with her hand, like just chopping it up, literally. She'll do it. She'll connect everything and it all makes sense. Oh god, Kanamori. It's so, why was she there? Like she must have followed them, just curious about what they're doing, what they're heading out of the school so far. It's just showed up randomly. I think she wants to help Kanamori and the rest of them to navigate the bureaucracies of still being a school club. But she's not actively helping, she's just like trying to nudge them towards a way that would let them do their work. I don't know. No, she loves playing the antagonist to Kanamoni, but I think at the end of the day, she does respect her. They're kind of on the same wavelengths too, aren't they? Kanamoni and the secretary. Oh man, so I don't know. I think this is all leading up to the finale, which is gonna be where they showcase this alien invasion animation. Oh, it's so cute. All right. So that wraps up episodes 9 and 10. Okay, so favorite moments from each episode. I have to say, episode 9 will have a special place in my heart because it was the episode that uncovered why Kanamori is such a go getter and how she came to be so knowledgeable about business practices and what needs to be done to make something a success. It was actually because she had suffered through the trauma of watching her uncle's store close down, a store that she herself was personally invested in, even at such a young age. That despite being such a welcoming, well stocked place, and despite the things that they came up with to attract more customers, the reality is running a small business is super tough. I think it's something like half of all businesses, small businesses, fail within the first 5 years. And that shutting down left its mark on Kanamori. It's why she's so adamant about reining in Mizusaki and Asakusa when they want to take on all the work in the world for the sake of art, because she knows that even if you produce something absolutely brilliant, if you don't also do the right marketing and put your product out there, everything will just collapse around you. And that insight into Kanamori's childhood also added more weight to the decision that Eizouken comes to, which is to partner with the Shibahara Business Council to help revitalize the shopping district by making an animation featuring Shibahara as the setting. So Kanamori learned everything she knows from a young age by watching her family's business fail. And now she's using that to help an entire network of small businesses to pull through, which I thought was so cool. The other highlight for me of that episode was, of course, Asakusa and her realization that when she animates an entire world, she's performing. The way that she explained it is that it's the animator's purpose to let others experience these amazing, crazy worlds that are in the animator's mind. And the magic of being able to share your vision with other people cannot be emphasized enough. I also loved her line of, I've been choosing what to draw and how all along. And you see that light bulb turn on in her mind, because it throws a spotlight on how every single thing that we see appear in an anime has gotten there as a result of someone's deliberate thought process and choice. And even though we may not notice every single detail has been put there for a reason, and it's completely the animator's decision for us to see what we see. And that power over being able to impart an image or a world onto someone else is actually quite powerful when you stop and think about it. For episode 10, I had two favorite scenes off the top of my head. The first, of course, was Kanamori being so done with the student council and the panel of teachers they brought in who are interrogating them about the inappropriateness of making profit off of club activities, which was ridiculous because their reasoning was that students should enjoy the time they have at school and be focused on learning and shaping or achieving their dreams, not being preoccupied with the hard realities of business and profit and dealing with the outside world. Something like that. At least that was what they were saying at first, which Kanamori immediately puts a sledgehammer to. Just because you happen to be making money off of something doesn't automatically mean it doesn't have any educational value. In fact, it's quite the opposite, because not only are you doing what you love, but you're also learning what it takes to have it thrive out in the real world. So the teachers definitely being too protective of their students, and what the secretary ended up saying cut right to the heart of the issue, which is that really deep down, the teachers are just squeamish about having students being involved in profit-making activities because of some vague fear that it'll step on some toes politically. So yeah, I love that whole exchange because it reminded us again, or highlighted the quite significant constraints that our girls are working within, and yet they've accomplished so much and are clearly miles ahead in terms of vision and just pure smarts when it comes to producing their films. My other highlight was Doumeki. She is well and truly part of the gang now, and I appreciate so much that she's just like the other girls when it comes to getting done what she needs to get done in order to accomplish some creative vision that she has, like going all the way out to the opposite side of the bay just to record the sound of those bells. And for the first time too, we see her sound effects in the form of those wave frequencies that show up in their imaginary trip. We also saw Doumeki mixing and balancing the sounds out physically as Asakusa is explaining the setting, which I got such a kick out of because that is what sound mixers do, but to see it happen while they're inside the world that Asakusa has created with the cattle operated wish machine and the hanging bells, man, I just loved it so much. That's it for today, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below or come hang out in Discord, and take care until I see you for the next reaction.